Welcome to the Ethan and Zach trio.
I'm Ethan.
And I'm Zach. And this is episode 3.
And tonight we'll be discussing technology. It's not so bad.
Tonight's argument will be technology. It's not so bad. Or, if you're more general, meh, it's not so bad.
And in case you're wondering, I'm actually Zach.
And I'm actually Ethan. Sorry about that.
No, we're not sorry.
It was Zach's idea.
I just don't want people to be like, what happened? Is there like a transference of the psyche into the vocal cords of the other person?
No, that didn't happen. Although I'm wondering how much our opinions are going to rub off on each other. But tonight we picked something that we both kind of agree on. Because we have a central argument tonight, which is which is technology. It's not that bad.
I mean, I don't even think of it as an argument so much as like a great starting off point. I mean, I'm going to disagree with you.
I thought we agreed.
That it was an argument rather than just a great place to begin. A great place. I mean, I don't disagree.
It's great because it is an argument. Right, it has direction. Like, we're coming down, or this episode's coming down on the side of, it's not that bad.
How could the episode come down on anything? Like, there's you, there's Ethan.
Right.
There's Zach.
Uh-huh.
And then there's the Holy Spirit.
Yes.
If you will.
If you will.
Spiritus Sanctus.
So go ahead, disagree with me, because my argument is that it's not that bad.
I agree with the argument. I just didn't know, like, here's the thing. How do you make an argument? I'm going to disagree with you in the sense that I don't know how to make an argument to an audience. To me, that's like a monologue. It's rhetoric. It's like the Gettysburg Address. You just stand up there and just say what you have to say, and then you get off your soapbox, and you go home. And I'm kind of like, isn't that a monologue? Isn't that just okay, I agree.
That was easy. Alright, so I'll go ahead and sum up the argument. This is the Ethan Zach trio. The show where Ethan digs a hole and Zach pees in it. Tonight's episode, technology. It's not so bad. So the argument, the way I see it, a lot of people are sort of coming down hard on technology these days. I hear it. I don't know if you hear it. But I don't think it's so bad. I think it's different. I think it's changing things. But I almost err on the side of it being a good thing.
Yeah. Well, okay. I mean, that's why I like this topic. There's really, like, a lot of layers to peel of the onion. It's a big onion. And I don't actually know where we're going to go with this onion, because for me, I actually have a lot of unorthodox thoughts, which if you just peel the onion enough, you'll find that deep inside the onion, maybe 3 or 4 layers down.
It's dark. Is it rotten?
Well, I think other people would think that my opinions are rotten, but I think they are like a mushroom in poop. They love it down there.
So in a way they are rotten, but in oh so good of a way.
Exactly. They are life burgeoning.
What kind of mushroom?
Blossoming.
Like a psychedelic mushroom?
I'm just thinking, like fungus. Fungus is the opposite of what everybody normally thinks of as having, class. As classy.
Right. I would agree with that.
It literally just wants to eat shit. Or dirt, or whatever. It's fine anywhere you put it.
I mean, it doesn't really have volition, although
thrives.
We can talk about that.
But if you, take volition, if you interpret volition in a certain way.
Yeah. In fact, I do interpret it that way. That volition is just whatever you're... Right, like a stone has volition to be cool and still and heavy.
Yeah, and to jut.
And to jut out from a cliff.
I mean, a good stone, anyway.
So one of the arguments against technology is that it's pulling us away from the natural world.
Yeah.
Which is valid.
I don't know.
But we still have the outdoors. We can still go off and stand on jutting stones.
My God, I'm already down in that onion. See, I don't want to just start from the onion because then...
Why are you afraid of your onion?
I'm afraid of my onion because I want to lead... I want to pull a person along with me by a thin hair worth of force into where I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want them to be led just by a boiled noodle, as the Eastern Europeans would say.
The Eastern Europeans or the East?
I heard from the Czechs. They say if somebody's very gullible, they say you can pull them with a boiled noodle.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious because I can understand it. All right, well, you gotta.
But
you gotta
so
give
I
us
don't want to
something.
be. I don't want to start deep down in the onion because then I know I can't.
All right,
pull
so
you.
start at the surface, but start somewhere.
Well, here's the thing: we should at least acknowledge that there's a huge number of people who are like, technology is awesome.
Yes, certainly.
You know, like they love technology.
Yes, that's certainly true. I think I'm thinking about thinkers.
People who like are terrified and who are dismayed and angry and upset that the things they spent their entire life learning how to do, such as read a newspaper, no longer matters because there aren't any newspapers anymore.
Yeah.
And but to me, see, I think the whole foundation of the argument is it's good for, it's good to get started, but what you really have is a case of people being in shock. If you throw a person into freezing water, they pretty much go into hypothermic shock. And shock is or if you lose a lot of blood.
I don't know. I'm going to disagree with you on that one because nobody all of a sudden realizes, oh my God, newspaper doesn't matter anymore. That happens over years and years. What happens is somebody clings to an old notion of newspaper and can't redefine it as something new or newsworthy.
No, I'm talking about significant investment of skill set. It's like a skill set that you learned. Like if you're a journalist who was used to have a reliable career writing articles for a newspaper that would buy your work for substantial money, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, technology. You know, well, yeah, right. That's a good argument against.
Or if you're a classical musician,
technology, with the exception of that last example, is taking work from a lot of people, which is a good thing in the sense that it's saving people from doing backbreaking work, but it's bad in the sense that a lot of people need to do backbreaking work just to make it by, and now there's fewer and fewer of those jobs, which are, in theory, could force people to do jobs that require more skills. But in reality, it's not possible to just develop skills, which goes back to what you're saying, is that as things change, people don't always keep up with them, because that's just the way we operate. We get into habits, we learn things, and it's kind of hard to...
You invest.
Yeah, you invest your intellect in things, and as technology comes in and starts to change that, you lose grasp with time and with history. But that's not technology's fault. That's our fault.
It's not just that it's not technology's fault. It's that it's the consequence of having been born into the era you happen to have been born into. Because really, any cataclysm will only happen to a given technology once. Like the illuminated manuscript used to be like it was a real thing. Like guys or monks or whoever in the Middle Ages who could who could create these beautiful books with colors and calligraphy and everything. Within 100 years after the printing press was invented, nobody made illuminated manuscripts anymore. It was like a dead industry.
Right. So here's another argument against technology, which is that it takes us away from classic art forms that are really kind of beautiful. Right? Like nobody paints chapels anymore that I know. I mean, somebody does, but they do it based on
they paint chapels in video games. They make video games. They make beautiful architecture in video games.
Yeah, but even that's probably based on like a bunch of pictures of something that the video game can interpret and make something that's sort of similar.
Yeah.
You know, it in a lot of ways it has taken away our creativity, but again, that's only because we've let it. We can still create all these things. We can still do that calligraphy. It's just that we haven't because on a practical level, other things come up and you just might as well go with what technology's giving you.
I found a certain prejudice amongst a lot of people, which is that they believe technology will never stop evolving. Like, that the current place the world is in now, it's always going to be like this. Like, there's always going to be another internet coming along, that's going to completely make whatever you know now not worth your time. And I don't adhere to that type of, viewpoint because I believe that the laws of physics defy that viewpoint. Like just the physical matter is only capable of so many combinations and so many rearrangements of things.
So wait, you're saying that there's not going to be something else equivalent to the internet that comes along in the next 10 or 50 years and changes everything? Or not, you're saying that's not necessarily going to happen.
Right. I mean, and at some point, you're really going to have, like, a stabilization of technology 500 years from now, say. All the technologies will have already been invented hundreds of years ago.
I'm inclined to disagree with you on this one.
Inclined to, or you're inclined?
I'm inclined at this point. I'm reclining toward that stance. Mostly because on an intuitive level, I just think we have so much left to do.
That's exactly the prejudice that I find is extremely common.
I agree it's a prejudice, collectively, socially it's a prejudice, but on the individual level, I'm telling you, it's intuition, which is quite different than prejudice.
But my basis...
I look at what we've done so far, and I say, this is awesome, but there's still... I mean, I agree with the premise that eventually it's going to flatten out, but I think we're far, far from that. I mean, there's so much that we're still learning about on the quantum level, on the information level. It's just...
See, I'm much more... I am confident in my own idea of the nature of science and the material world. The physics. If you knew mathematically that physics, that there are no known physics which would permit, say, this teleportation device that is used in Star Trek, or the faster than light speed that is used in both in Star Wars and Star Trek. It's like the basis for galactic science fiction in which you sort of fly to different planets. The whole basis for that, there is no evidence for it in
science. I know what you're saying.
No, none. There's no evidence.
But there is evidence in science for other kind of interesting things that are poised to happen. Not with teleportation or traveling faster than the speed of light, because in a lot of ways, we've sort of precisely proved that those things aren't possible.
Right.
But with the discovery of quantum physics, we've found a whole world where things cease to be possible. Now they all become probable.
To me, that's another prejudice. There's the quantum prejudice, you might call it.
Okay.
It's exactly what you just said.
What is it?
It's this idea that quantum physics is rife with these brilliant undiscovered mysteries that have all this meaning.
Well, it's a little, I mean, my point is a little broader than that. It's that the whole world is wrought with things to discover. And you could say that that's a prejudice too, but you can keep saying that and I'll get a little buzzer here and I'll just keep buzzing it. Whenever you make that argument. Because it's a silly argument to make. Everything you say is just a prejudice.
It's not a silly argument.
What makes me saying that the world is full of infinite things to discover a prejudice as opposed to a belief?
I think beliefs that are against my beliefs are prejudices.
This is the worst kind of prejudice. The kind against me.
It's not
that's your
against me.
stance,
It's not me. I'm not This is not I'm not taking it personally. If somebody believes this, I literally don't believe it. They're against what I believe. They're against they're not against me.
I think I get what you're saying. You're saying that what you believe is not about you. It's about something
Honestly,
else. That's
to me, the big range of future awesome technology is in biotechnology. It's in mixing the organic molecules of life and the power of modern computers and other material science to achieve like really interesting materials, and possibly, genetic rearrangements. And I mean, I think there's plenty of potential on that front.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like I'm just blanketly having these prejudices. These are conclusions. I have sort of basic conclusions about where the potential is, because in materials science, there literally is lots of, they're still working on awesome batteries, like great batteries that, that last for a really long time, that never wear out, all this really cool stuff that they might achieve it.
Okay, but then what that, to me that goes against your point. Like eventually they're going to come up with batteries that never die.
Not that
Eventually
they never
they're
die.
Come up with ways to transfer information.
No, not batteries that never die.
100 times faster than it's going now. 1,000 times faster. To me, that's
no, but there's
that's
physical
progress.
limits. There's physical limits. When I say batteries that never die, I mean batteries that don't wear out as you use them up and recharge them and use them up and recharge them and use them up and recharge them.
Mm-hmm.
Or that they're made of cheap enough materials, or that they're compact enough. I mean, I'm not saying these will be discovered. The thing about technology is when something is discovered that is it's called a disruptive technology,
mm-hmm.
then all of a sudden the world changes. But nobody knows which disruptive technologies will be discovered and when. Some people do know. Some people, they become rich on the stock market.
But you seem to be saying that there's not that many more disruptive technologies to come, and when they do come, they're going to come in the biotechnologies.
Yeah, actually, that's a lot of what I'm saying, and maybe some in materials science. Just the use of specific materials for different, specific materials for specific purposes, which are much better than the materials that have been previously used for those purposes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's a good theory. I just wouldn't limit, the potential of other sciences to come up with things. Because to me, that is the definition of a prejudice. A prejudice is something that's limiting, right? You're limiting the potential of those things.
But I derive my prejudice from, the maximum speed of light. For example, that's the ultimate prejudice. If you believe that nothing can transcend the speed of light, then in essence, you're saying we will never fly to other star systems. We will never get out of here. It's
that I do believe.
That we won't get out of here.
For the most part. I'm 99% sure that how far we can travel is very limited.
Yeah, but even the speed of light even affects the speed of computers. For a long time, computers were doubling every 2 years. It was called Moore's Law. The speed of microchips was doubling every 2 years. Now that's not true anymore. They've reached there are physical limits to the speed of light, and it's because of the speed of light that Moore's Law has stopped. The interactions inside the computer chips are going. You
don't believe quantum data transfer is a real thing? From what I was understand, they're coming pretty close to being able to figure out no more zeros and ones traveling less than the speed of light. Now they're talking.
I don't know. I looked into quantum computing and. It's interesting, but I think all it does is help. It's like code cracking. It's like encryption and solving certain really difficult mathematical problems. But I didn't get the impression that it's just, I just feel like there's a lot less undiscovered country. Know what it is?
What?
Christopher Columbus.
We're going to Christopher Columbus. We're going to 1492. Tell us.
So, back in the day, if you will, he's going to go to India, and to this day, we call them Indians. The Native Americans, they call themselves Indians. Because when they landed, in the New World, they thought they had reached India. I mean, they knew the world was round, but they didn't know how big it was. And so they just had to completely guess, and they guessed completely wrong. So the whole idea, the New World, this whole idea of the New World.
Yes, a ton of land that has yet to be discovered.
Yeah.
Which can be related analogically to a bunch of technology that has yet to be discovered.
At the same time, there's no New World anymore. We have satellite images of the entire planet now.
Right. There's no New World. There's no geographic
land.
There's no geographic knowledge to uncover, but there is physical knowledge to uncover.
Right, but at some point, the technosphere will be like the geosphere. It will just be,
yes,
you just you just discover everything that's left.
Of course, but I think what we're arguing about is how close are we? And you seem to be saying we're pretty close, and I'm saying we're not. I'm leaning more and more towards the position.
But in a lot of areas, we're pretty close. In a lot of areas, we're pretty close. We hit the limit in a lot of areas,
I think we've hit I think the curve has started.
Pretty close.
I think the curve has started to bend, but there's still quite a ways to go. But anyway, let's get back to the question at hand.
Yeah,
biotechnology is a good place to go with this.
Question?
I'm glad that you're really interested in biotechnology, because that seems to be a place where somebody could really make the argument that technology is a bad thing. And the argument that I'm trying to make, that I invite you to disagree with, is that technology is not so bad.
Oh, yeah, but the funny thing is, I like the discussion, because in a way, it's really kind of a rare, sniveling, old, crusty intellectual who will tend to most prominently think technology is bad.
Yes, that's a good image of an old sniveling man.
Somebody from Harry Potter, or who's old.
Nobody in Harry Potter complained about technology.
Well, they had magic.
They should have.
Who would complain?
Magic would be cool.
No, but not just Harry Potter, but, the Lord of the Rings or something.
I bet you people who are okay with technology are more into fantasy, more into magical stories, because whereas when you're you're more of a hardened realist, and you're over Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings, when you're just only concerned with what's going on in the world around you, that makes you more of an anti-technologist.
I honestly, I'm still at the onion image right here. I'm still at the onion.
I know, we haven't even gotten to your rot yet. I really want to see what you have.
We may never get there.
Well,
that's why
pull that wet noodle.
Okay. Yeah, but the only reason I mentioned the onion was because it's such a huge onion. That's why I like the topic, because I know there's just, layers of tangy...
We gotta stop talking about this stuff. We gotta eat this onion.
Well,
onions are spicy, by the way, if you're wondering how to describe it.
Fine. I mean, I don't know. We'll get as far as we get.
Yeah.
Do we want to, take a break, or do we...
Yeah, I think now's a good time to take a break. Well, our modus operandi is as soon as one of us starts to feel lagging, then it's time to take a break. So... Okay, so I assume what we're saying right now won't even be... You can't make any assumptions.
Okay. What should I say?
Close us out.
So, we'll be back after this short break.
The Zach and Ethan Trio needs some sponsors, so we're going to sponsor some stuff that we like, and we're going to hope that they give us some money for it.
This is not the show. The show did not come back yet. This is the part of the show.
This is the commercial break.
Where there's music.
Right. We've been promising you commercials all this time, and you've been deprived of them, so we're going to give you a good old commercial right now.
We put the music on continual repeat, and then we talk about things that we like.
I like water.
But you can't sell water. Nobody's going to pay you to like water.
Eventually somebody's going to sell. People sell water all the time. Nestle's going to start selling water. Selling water is becoming a reality. It's tragic, but it's going to start to happen.
No. But, what water? We're advertise a real... You can't just like water.
I like whiskey. More importantly, I like Evan Williams whiskey.
Evan Williams. And,
Ezra Brooks. It's the bootleg Evan Williams. It's
Yeah.
the shoe leg Evan Williams, if you will.
Oh, so it's legit Evan Williams. It's the same
It's
same liquid, different
almost
bottle.
better because it costs less.
As we used to say, stolen cake tastes better. That's how. That.
What else? What do you like?
I just want to give a good plug for Evan Williams first.
Well,
Who are they? And why? How long? I mean, give us something. What is it about
it
Evan
tastes
Williams?
good and it costs nothing.
Evan Williams tastes good and it costs. It won't break. You can be a drunk dad and go home to your little child, and still be able to afford the shoes.
Shoes for
Your
little
kid.
for little Johnny.
Yeah.
Evan Williams. A whiskey you can drink and still afford shoes for little Johnny. I think that's a good.
Next up, next up, there's Trader Joe's. I mean, I don't even live near a Trader Joe's, but when I do stop by Trader Joe's, I always buy the dark chocolate peanut butter cups. I looked through the whole store, trying to find something other than dark chocolate peanut butter cups, and I found nothing. And I haven't even tried half of those things. But I was like, well, you like what you like. And I like Trader Joe's dark chocolate peanut butter cups.
Surely you found other things in Trader Joe's that you like.
Well, I was thinking about there's like snickerdoodles, or there's some kind of cookie
They have
dough.
snickerdoodles?
No, it's like cookie dough, like snickerdoos, or cocker spaniels. Something just, it's like a name with a funny kind of do at the end of it, or smooth or something.
I know that they have
But it's like cookie dough.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
that
but
they're like big
snickerdoodle.
on cookie dough.
But the point is, like,
Snickerdoodle cookie dough?
no, it's like, yeah, it's like a batter. It's like chopped up cookies.
Ooh, that sounds good.
They also, they have ice cream. They have stuff at Trader Joe's. I mean, we all know and love.
This episode of the Ethan and Zach Trio is brought to you by ice cream and cookies. Cookies, preferably served warm.
I like Aldi's. I live near an Aldi's.
You love Aldi's. You always talk about Aldi's.
Aldi's is a great store. I mean, I don't want to like just advertise Aldi's, so I'm just going to advertise one thing in Aldi's: the hummus. Now, the hummus is fine. It's good hummus. However, how much do you pay for the hummus at Aldi's? How much would you pay for like a thing, like a standard 10 ounce or 8 ounce thing of hummus? How much do you think I'm paying?
$4.
$2.
What?
Every day. It's $2.
What?
That's not like the sale price. That's the Aldi's price.
I have to go, everybody. I'm going to Aldi's right now. You should too. Is Aldi's international?
Aldi's is owned by one of the Albrecht brothers. The other Albrecht brother owns Trader Joe's. And they are German. They're German brothers.
That's crazy.
And they're like this dynasty. They have like this family dynasty where they both own these like awesome stores. Aldi stands for Albrecht Discount Store. But
okay. What else do I like?
What do you like?
What do I like?
What have we got?
I like a lot of philosophy, but we can't really sell that.
Well,
I like art.
I like art.
This episode is brought to you by art.
Buy some at your local art dealer today.
Make some art, because it'll help you.
But we need to appeal to advertisers, Ethan. We need to...
I'm a big fan of other podcasts. This episode is brought to you by the podcast that contributed to us making this podcast.
Which is...
Serial,
S-E-R...
This American Life. S-E-R-I-A-L.
Okay.
This American Life.
Right on.
The Partially Examined Life. The History of Philosophy Without Any Gaps.
Okay.
The Moth. And the Ethan and Zach Trio. Those are the most important podcasts.
We can't sponsor ourselves.
Yes, we can.
No, but like, I'm trying to be real. See, my attitude is that we're telling people that we can sell their products. We're letting them know that we can responsibly. But yeah, okay, fine. Anyway, so let's go through the list. Serial. Okay, what's Serial? Tell us about Serial.
Serial is a podcast about a story told serially. Zach's making...
No, so...
Zach's telling me...
so I've been listening to Serial.
Yeah, you don't like Serial.
No, it's fine. I don't hate it. It's like Breaking Bad.
But you don't love it.
Yeah,
you don't love Breaking Bad. So this episode is brought to you by Breaking Bad, a show that Zach should like, but he doesn't.
I like it. I just don't really like it. I don't love it.
Then something's wrong with your soul.
But that's a different question.
Yeah.
What's wrong with somebody's soul and, like, whether or not it... I mean...
Next week on the Ethan and Zach Trio, what's wrong with Zach's soul?
Alright, you would throw the gauntlet down. You really want to... You're throwing your gloves.
Yeah.
What's wrong with Zach's soul? I'm not sure I can stomach that.
I can't either. I don't think anything's wrong with your soul.
Okay, This American Life. We all know about This American Life. I know about it. You know about it. How are we advertising? What do we need to say about it?
It's the origin of Serial. It's the best podcast ever. It's amazing. I mean, everybody should listen. Everybody who's interested in podcasts should listen to This American Life.
Okay.
And then everybody who's interested in This American Life should listen to Serial.
And
then everybody who's interested in philosophy should listen to The Partially Examined Life and The History of Philosophy Without It.
Okay, Partially Examined Life. Let's talk about it.
I've listened to so many episodes of that I can almost say their opening without hearing it.
You can partially say their opening?
Yeah.
You can...
This is The Partially Examined Life.
You can completely say their opening.
A philosophy podcast featuring a couple of guys who once were intent on doing philosophy and then thought better of it. This week's episode, technology. It's not that bad.
No, that's our show.
Oh, right, I mixed them
Oh
up.
my god. Alright.
I'm blowing it. Alright, I think
I'm gonna go back to Aldi's and talk about Aldi's.
Alright, talk about Aldi's.
You don't underestimate Aldi's. You may think it's just one of those stores that's dumb, but when you go in and you see the kind of prices and you see the kind of quality that they're delivering on a daily basis, you will change your mind really quick.
Alright, that's it for this
commercial break.
The first commercial break brought to you by Ethan and Zach. I think this is how we'll do it from now on. We won't have any commercials.
We're going to do it much better from now on.
We'll just talk about what we like.
I'm going to do it better. I want people to literally, like, give me money to talk about their products on the show.
I mean, This American Life should give us $1 million for what we just pulled for them.
$2 million.
Let's make it 3.
It's $4 million, and that's my final offer.
Okay. $4 million, we just made it. We're signing off of this commercial break.
Back to the show.
We're back. The Zach and Ethan trio. I'm Ethan.
And I'm Ethan.
No.
And I'm Trio.
Ooh, I like that.
You may call me Trio.
Today's episode, technology. Meh.
It's
not that bad. In the first half, we covered onions.
No, don't. They know. We just listened to the first.
Sorry about that.
Let's get back on
I forgot what I was doing. Okay. I am making the argument that most thinkers come to a point in their lives when they think that technology is a bad thing. And I think that is merely an expression of an inability on their part to overcome technology. Technology is merely a part of the world which we must overcome. And use to our advantage.
I'm more of, I just believe that, I believe a very simple idea, which is that it's perfectly natural for people to get upset at new things, especially new things that ruin their careers.
Right. Well, we did talk at length about that problem with technology.
In fact, the Amish, I hear, are quite upset at all this newfangled stuff.
You're silly. So I think one of the other arguments against technology. So let's try to list these out in an organized fashion. So one of the arguments is that it makes people lose their job, right? It takes stuff away from us. We can no longer have these jobs. We can no longer create calligraphy.
Yeah.
Another thing we talked about in the first part was how technology it separates people. It pulls us apart. And a third thing I think it's worth talking about is the stance that technology pulls us away from ourselves. Right? So the problematics of technology are that they pull us away from nature. I didn't say that one before, but nature, self,
What's
others,
wrong with being pulled away from yourself? I mean, most people don't like themselves anyway.
I don't think that's true. I mean, know thyself is something that people just love. They love that saying, know thyself.
No philosophers love it.
No, I think everybody loves it. I think that's a really pop philosophy phrase. Socrates was full of them.
Well, but then people who love pop philosophy and actual philosophers, but not everyone even loves pop philosophy.
Socrates is such a Taylor Swift. What a dick.
What?
Socrates is such Taylor Swift. What a dick.
He's 22. He's never, ever, ever getting back together.
Alright, what were you writing down over there?
Oh, I have a thing.
Tell me your thing.
It's a different angle.
I love different angles.
There's one thing that people get upset about with regard to technology, and it's that you don't get to use your hands anymore.
Ooh. Movement. Right, yeah, technology does all the moving for us.
Yeah. You don't get to use your hands, and I've used my hands. Once, back in my day, we used to use our hands.
But again, just to beat a dead horse with my hands, technology is not. I mean, you could build a horse-beating machine if you really wanted to, if you're really cruel and lazy. Technology is not taking that opportunity away from you to build stuff with your hands. It's merely...
No, it is.
No, it's merely giving you another opportunity. It's up to you as the individual with volition to build the thing that you want to build. If technology is doing it, who cares? Be gone with technology. You build it yourself. Mm-hmm. But realize and accept and embrace the fact that technology can do it quicker and faster and better.
That's what technology does. You build a machine that does what people used to do with their hands, and it does it at 1/10 of the cost.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing's inherently wrong with it, but now you have 10 times the time. Now you're freeing up people's time. In other words, there's like knitting. Knitting's a perfect example. Knitting's back, especially among women.
Knitting's a cool activity. Knitting's cool because you're creating something.
But I know it's like women is owning their. It's going back to nature, or it's like as far back to nature as women of the modern times are willing to go. Because there was times when there was no thread, there was no yarn.
Yeah.
There were times when there was no knitting.
I've always wondered how you make yarn. Do you know that?
You have to have a spinning wheel, perhaps.
Oh.
It's
so
like
you
a
just
special
take
thing. Then you prick your finger on the spinning wheel.
Do you know what you're talking about?
You fall asleep.
I think we need to get a knitter on here. I know knitters. Knitters. Don't come down on knitters. I think knitting's a great activity.
Of true love.
Knitting, in fact, is an act of. Knitting is exactly what I'm talking about. It's like you see that it can be done quicker and better and faster and harder and stronger, and you still do it. You still go out there and you knit slowly, methodically, painstakingly.
You knit,
and that's the greatest celebration of humanity.
It's such a postmodern thing. You're intentionally going back to the era in which you actually had something to do with your hands, is what I'm getting at.
But your stance seems to imply that because technology can do a thing, we must let it do it. My philosophy
it's just much cheaper. It's much cheaper, and for the most part...
But if you're doing it just for fun, then...
Oh, the other one, the big one, probably even better than knitting. Laundry. Oh my god.
Oh, nobody does laundry.
Laundry.
With one of those little boards that
like a washing board. See, that's technology in a nutshell right there. See, what it does is it reduces the amount of work that you have to do with your hands, And the thing is, in an era when people aren't even using their hands at all, except maybe at the computer, they're using their hands, but it's for such dumb stuff nowadays. It's just, I'm drawing on my tablet, or I'm like moving, like, I'm scrolling the Twitter feed.
Well, there's other, cooking.
But, like, the point is, there's an old-fashioned feeling about the use of the hands, that the thing is, machines, you invent a machine, it does it better, faster, and stronger than you ever could do with your hands.
I like your example of laundry because...
But now you can't... The thing is, you miss doing stuff with your hands. Right.
Well, the reason I like laundry as opposed to your other examples is that it fits this idea that once the technology comes along, you no longer do the thing by hand. Laundry is a good example because the amount of time it would take to clean something with one of those little boards with the ridges on it and, like, to hang it to dry... compared to the quality and the time needed to do laundry in a machine, it almost precludes doing it by hand. Like, you have to now do it with the machine, because otherwise you're going to lose out on so much other opportunity.
Well, yeah, they used to take a whole day of the week, like Monday. Monday was laundry day. And the whole day, at least if you were a woman, that's all you did. All you did was laundry. For a whole day of the week.
I find myself thinking about productivity a lot during this conversation, and I wonder to myself, if we had a whole day devoted to laundry, might we still work just as... We might still get the same amount done, just in less time? Or is progress really ticking in such a way that laundry being done automatically leads to more progress happening?
It leads to free time, which means you can use that time for however you want to use it. Unless you're employed in some other job trying to get by, that's what technology is generally doing, is it's increasing the total wealth of society. Because, say you have a machine that can make a shirt, now everybody can have a shirt. And it doesn't consume vast quantities of human time to produce. So that's all these machines are doing. And I guess my whole point about the hands is that when I was gonna write a book, I'm still trying to. I started by writing longhand, like the old fashioned pen and paper. And then I was like, I'm gonna get me a typewriter. This was in the 2000s. This is when everyone's using computers, but there's some people who still use typewriters. And it's because it feels more natural, organic. There's no plug-in, there's no electrical cord on the typewriter.
Right, but it's still a bit less natural and organic than writing it on a piece of paper.
Yeah, so
carving it into a clay tablet.
But it's like an evolution. You have to go through a phase that people still need access to washing boards and to typewriters. They still need to have the opportunity to experience what those old things were like. Because that's where, to me, that's where that nostalgia comes from.
Yes.
It's from not even knowing what it was like.
Yes.
Because I was using a typewriter for a while, and then I was realizing, I can't, it's really hard to edit this, and I need to put it on a computer if I'm ever going to send it to anybody, and...
I agree entirely. People need to experience a typewriter. They need to experience a washing board. Yeah. But in that sense, they really need to experience everything that
so it's not that, I think we need to embrace them, we need to use the machines because they basically liberate mankind, is what they did. Like, the washing machine liberated people.
Right, give us a day back of leisure.
Like, give me feminism without the washing machine. Tell me what it looks like.
Wait.
Give me the modern women's movement without the availability.
You're saying that the washing machine contributed to the modern feminist movement.
Yeah, it may have been decisive, perhaps.
Wow.
I don't know if anybody's ever said that before.
I don't know that anybody's ever said that either. I'm gonna go look that up and see, because I mean, that is an interesting point. Again, I'm sort of wishing that the third person would chime in here because she's being so quiet. I just sort of wish that she would come in
Maybe
and
she's,
balance us out.
being wise. Maybe it's wise to not say anything. Maybe there's wisdom there.
I guess so. We have not partaken of that wisdom.
I didn't know it was a woman either. I'm actually. I figured out what the deal is. And I'm just gonna be honest here. The Ethan and Zach trio, the third person, is the magic. It's the magic that happens when you pour Ethan and Zach into the same beaker. Into the same chemical beaker. The third person is basically, it's the magic that comes from just combining Ethan and Zach. It's the most easy, obvious, understanding.
The third person is the machine that turns on when Zach and Ethan are plugged into the Holy Spirit.
I guess that's an adequate other way of putting it. Or other definition. But yeah, the magic. I just call it the magic. That's how I was thinking of it. Do we want to get back to the technology discussion, or?
I want to take a little break, and then we'll close out with, because we haven't even gotten into your onion yet. Unless all of a sudden
this is all the onion.
Unless all of a sudden you're ready to.
It's a big onion.
Okay, we're getting into the onion.
Yeah, no, we're all over
that feminist quip was. that one's going to stick with me. All right, yeah, we'll be back. We'll close out this episode. Thanks for listening.
We're not done.
I am.
The episode?
No. We're going to be back for another segment.
Oh yeah, so it's just a break. We'll be back.
Yeah, we're taking a break. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Right back. Welcome back.
We're back
to the Ethan and Zach trio.
I'm, who am I? I'm Jean Valjean. 24601. And you?
I'm Ethan. I don't know what Zach's talking about.
You should. Everyone else, more than half the people will know that it's from Les Miserables.
More than half the people where?
Listening. More than half the listeners. You're such a young...
Through all time.
You're such a young bud.
Whippersnapper? Is that what you were going to say?
You're such a young... You're like a like pale green...
So a little birdie told me
sapling.
that you have something to say about global warming. Let's hear it.
Oh, I have a whole thing about global warming. I don't think anybody has my personal opinion about global warming.
Because it ties into technology.
Yeah, I mean, it actually...
Technology is the cause.
It's actually...
human-caused global warming. Technology is the source of human-caused global warming.
Yeah, if you believe in human-caused global warming.
Okay, so you don't.
Well, not like other people. I don't believe in this militaristic, you're evil if you don't believe in it way.
No, I don't. No, I don't take that stance about anything, not even the nature of good and evil.
But a lot of people, they think...
Sure, a lot of people do.
If you are the type of person who thinks somebody who doesn't believe in global warming is either evil or ignorant, then...
So your argument's not so much against global warming and the theories behind it as it is against the arguments made, like, it's the rhetoric of global warming that you're coming out against.
It's the psychology that's built in... And I use the psychology in the sense that Carl Jung uses it, which is sort of a broad way of saying it's the unconscious forces at play.
Unconscious is in, like, what people... Right, like, unconscious is in human-created... It's an...
Ideas. It's not just what they create technologically, it's what they convince themselves of. That I have this sort of unorthodox viewpoint on...
Yeah, but I want to get to your viewpoint.
Well, anyway, so the relation to the modern global warming, crisis, or at least the global warming... what do you call one of those things where there's the global warming panic?
Yes.
The modern global warming panic, to me, is actually more accurately understood in the domain of what I call the psychology of technology.
Okay. I like that phrase. Can you tell us what it means?
Well, psychology of technology is the way changing technologies and their widespread use affects people's worlds, people's subjective worlds. how they feel about things, how they feel about what's going on. That would be the psychology of technology. But not how they consciously feel. It's how it affects them at a sort of instinctive or deep
What does
level.
it have to do with technology that it doesn't have to do with everything else, though? Because people feel...
honestly, it's not just the psychology of technology so much as the psychology of change. And also the psychology of urban landscapes really seems to affect people. And it makes them ready to buy into a conspiracy theory like global warming instantly.
Okay, I want to get into this, what you just said, urban landscape. I think you're onto something. Mm-hmm. The way I'm sort of reading you mm-hmm. is so we haven't spoken about cities yet, because cities is a phenomenon that's really kind of, problematic, because in a lot of ways, cities are really, really valuable. Per capita, they reduce resource consumption, and they allow people to move around and exchange ideas and things.
Yeah. The city is the symbol of human consciousness,
yes.
I'd say. It is the symbol of all of our efforts when we apply them consciously rather than just haphazardly or randomly, chaotically.
And yet it creates a landscape in our psyche which...
The modern city, definitely.
Which engenders us with this panic. It's like living in a city is making us panic about it because we're at the epicenter of what's the source of the dirtiness.
Concrete. Honestly, it's concrete, asphalt. It's rocks. It's the building stones.
It's square stone. I think we need to be clear. It's square stones. In other words,
but it's also buildings falling apart. If you see a concrete building and there's just rubble that has not been taken care of,
right? Because you form a notion of that thing as once having been taken care of and not now, whereas the world is just something that's constantly in a state of not taking care of itself. Nature itself never really takes care of itself. And we, on the other hand, craft these stones, we turn them into squares, and we put them one on top of the other, and when they fall apart, it hurts us in a way that nature falling apart just can't.
It reveals the limitations of consciousness. If the city is the symbol of the pinnacle, of the peak of human consciousness, then when the city falls apart and falls into ruins, or buildings fall into ruin, that's a symbol. That ends up being a symbol of the hubris of consciousness. It's like everything you thought was awesome isn't awesome, and it's also a symbol of like the fall. The original fall, what used to be the fall of man, like the Garden of Eden. Like now with their cat, they eat the fruit of knowledge, tree of knowledge of good and evil.
Are you saying that what's in the Bible was foretelling what would happen?
Well, there's always been symbols. There's always been a symbol of the fall. There's always been something, since the Bible became popular, since those mythos, that mythos sort of took over and became the dominant mythos in the Christian world or whatever world it took, there's always been something people could look at as the evidence for the fall. Like the reason things are so bad.
I think that my argument lies precisely here, in that I think the fall is something that's projected onto either mankind in the classic age or technology in the modern age, and that I think that both those views are flawed because they refuse to see how mankind and technology connect. I think that's essentially my argument, because the other source of my argument is that there is no fall per se. The fall is not happen. The fall
is psychological.
Yes, right. The fall doesn't happen at one point in history. It happens every time somebody's born.
Yeah, it's a symbol of people's attitude towards themselves.
Yes.
As they increase in consciousness.
Right. Right. The fall is an individual activity, and it never happens on the global scale.
Yeah, I would say
I think to look at technology and say, "Oh, it's so bad, it's making us worse," is to fall into the same trap as people who read too closely into the Bible And
I mean,
say
there's a
that.
lot of people who understand how cataclysms work. I mean, there's like whole books written on what are called disruptive technologies. And so in a way, these books, they go to both ends of the idea, the topic for tonight. Technology, it's not so bad. So to me, in other words, they understand how disruptive technologies change the world and how they disrupt, the previous industries that were built, the industries that were built on the previous technology, the one that is economically much less efficient than the new one. And so then when everybody starts flocking to the new one because they're saving so much money, and I think you should save money. I'm not against people saving money. I'm just saying this is a natural pattern. If you can get something for much less, you will. It's just people will do it. And in the end, it's not so bad.
It's not so bad.
It's just the process can be quite...
I had intended on making tonight's show about optimism in general, but we'll have to save that for another night.
What's that mean? I mean, what's it mean when you intend to make a show about...
Well, the show tonight was about technology and how it's not so bad, but really, my argument, more broadly speaking, is, it's not so bad. Speaking about more or less everything.
Oh, I see. In other words, you're trying to get over a latent bitterness.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of bad things that happen, but what I'm trying to say is that overall, I'm trying to move beyond good and bad.
Beyond good and evil?
Yeah, I was going to say that, but then I was like, well, Nietzsche said that already, so...
I don't know. I feel like I moved beyond good and bad a long time ago, and maybe I feel like superior to you in this fashion.
Yeah, I've gathered that you feel superior to me, but I'm going
with
to accept
regard
that.
To moving beyond,
I think that creates.
Regard to beyond
I think it creates a nice tension between us, where I don't yet feel superior to you, and you do feel superior to me, and yet we're both sitting here talking into this little recorder.
Mm-hmm.
I sense we're getting off, so why don't we close it? We have a couple things to...
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I could, there's more about global warming.
I know, well, we'll have a whole episode about global warming, I promise.
Yeah, something like that.
But why don't we talk about the week? It's been a busy week. We lodged ourselves onto the social ecosystem.
We're trying to be players.
We're trying to be players. We're on Facebook and Twitter and Google Plus and YouTube and Blogger. And we're probably going to just keep going until somebody on the internet says, hey, stop it.
Stop it?
Stop it.
No.
I think I have a feeling Facebook's going to be... Facebook.
I mean, if Vladimir Putin calls me up and says, stop it, I might stop it because I'm scared of that guy.
That's so funny because I wouldn't, but if Mark Zuckerberg calls me up and tells me to stop it.
Mark Zuckerberg?
Did I say that name right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, fine, though.
I was going to say Zach Zuckerberg.
No, there's nothing wrong with Mark Zuckerberg. I mean, you'll stop it because Mark Zuckerberg told you to?
Well, because he maintains power over my account, whereas Vladimir Putin maintains power over really nothing in my life. Right?
Oh.
I mean, Obama's got my back.
Yeah, but the thing is, if Mark Zuckerberg, stifles your free speech, people might, he might not do that. You see, it might not be in Mark Zuckerberg's interest to say stop it. Besides, what are we doing? Are we committing a crime?
Yes.
Is that so wrong?
Yes.
All I wanted to do was commit crimes all my life. Is that so wrong?
Alright, is there anything else you want to plug, Zach?
In Philadelphia, on Wednesdays, in March of 2015, when this is being recorded, we meet at the Good Karma Cafe at 7 p.m. Wednesday is 7 p.m., and this week we'll be talking about
Parmenides.
So, if you happen to be in Philadelphia and you happen to catch this before March
25th, I believe.
March 25th, 2015, and you like Parmenides, join us at the Good Karma Cafe. 7 p.m.
Alright, that's it for this episode. Thanks
Okay,
for
bye-bye.
listening. Bye.